Today I'm going to be working on a commission for a girl that I met at the latest convention that I went to. Her name's Rach. Hi Rach if you're listening. So basically it's going to be a kind of terrarium in a bottle. We've got the glass jar itself in a mason jar type vessel. And it's going to have a cute little mooncake figure in the inside from Final Space, which is awesome. So it's based just setting out a rough sketch so that I have a good idea of what I'm aiming for. Okay, so basically in the bottom we're going to have some cookies. Not sure what scale I'm going to do them at this stage, but we'll see when we get there, see what looks right. And in the show it's got a giant cookie dispenser, and Gary, the main character, he is always trying to get cookies, and the spaceship machine will not let him get the cookies. So little Mooncake has all the cookies. Happy little Mooncake. Okay, what I want is to have almost no air in this. We don't want the polymer clay to expand and be irregularly shaped. And this alfoil filling just helps keep it nice and light so that we're not going to run into problems with him being held up by a small string. So we want him to essentially fit in there. I'm going to go for a glow in the dark mixture between these two Fimo colours. So this is called Night Glow, and this one is Apple Green. And I'm just going to mix these together until I get a decent colour. Then I'm going to test that it glows in the dark. Now that I've got the colour that I want, I'm just going to roll it out between some paddle pop sticks. The paddle pop sticks are an even height so that when I'm rolling it out, it can't go thinner than the paddle pop sticks at the same height on each side. Then I can wrap the layer around the little alfoil ball we made earlier and form that into a nice ball. To make little Mooncake's eyes, I'm just pressing the back of a paintbrush into the clay gently, making sure that the eyes are in the right place. I find that it's always useful to work next to a reference picture or have a reference picture on your screen while you're working. That way it doesn't get too far from the original shape. To make the cookies, I'm forming little balls of alfoil into discs, each one about 1 millimeter smaller than what I want the outcome to be. We're then going to layer some clay on the top. I've chosen to use Sahara, and I've mixed it with a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow just to form that base cookie colour. And I'm going to wrap it around the alfoil base and form it into a cookie shape, just making sure that it's completely covered in polymer clay. I'm using a toothbrush here to texture the clay to make sure the surface is a little bit closer to a real cookie. I'm also going to use a ball of alfoil to roll across it so that it has little cracks like what you would get if you baked cookies in the oven at home. The chopped chips that I'm making are little ovals to match my reference pictures. I scatter the chopped chips and make some larger pieces of chocolate and some smaller. To make the cookies look like they've been baked, I'm just adding some chalk pastels to the outside edge of the cookie in a mid-brown colour. If you don't have any chalk pastels, you can buy them fairly inexpensively on eBay. They're about $10 for a set of 24. I've also heard that you can use eyeshadows. Just make sure that it doesn't have a shine if you're using one to make cookies. I'm now going in with a lighter, more yellow chalk pastel and brushing it all over the cookie. To get the powder that I have, I've ground down my chalk pastels into a powder so that it's easier to apply. To make Mooncake's mouth, I'm just using a ball tool to make the basic shape and then go in and press in a little harder to make it deeper. To make Mooncake's little antennae, I'm going to poke some wire into Mooncake's head in the position that I want them to sit. I then remove them and going to bake him in the oven. I'm going to remove the dust that's on the surface layer by using some rubbing alcohol or acetone. Because we're working with these chemicals, we need to be careful that we don't spill it on furniture or anything important, and also make sure that you're in a well ventilated area. This process can take a while to remove all of the little dust particles, but it looks much nicer when it is finished. With his feet, I'm going to use some translucent liquid Sculpey to make sure the attachment is more secure. To finish Mooncake's antennae, I'm snipping off the excess with pliers, making sure it's slightly shorter than what I want in the end, as I'm going to be coating it with some polymer clay. To make the antennae more secure, I'm adding some translucent liquid Sculpey to help glue them in place. I also roll a little ball to finish them off and use some translucent liquid Sculpey to attach the ball. Next I'm going to add the eyes, again using some translucent liquid Sculpey to make sure everything sticks really well together. I'm using some very dark pink clay for his mouth and pressing it into the crevice that we created earlier. I'm adding the little pupils in. You can change the expression as well. It's up to you how you design him. To allow Mooncake to hang, we need to have a little hole in the top of his head where the fishing wire is going to go. I'm going to super glue this into the little hole. The deeper the hole is, the better and more secure the attachment will be. If you have any excess glue, you can remove it with your needle tool. I use Loctite gel so that it doesn't harden straight away and I'm able to make adjustments. Here we're making the top of the bottle. I'm making a hole in the top with a nail. And then we're going to coat it with some black spray paint. Because we're going to be gluing the fishing line to the top of the bottle, we need something to hide it, so I'm going to use a sheet of polymer clay. At this stage you should have everything baked and ready to assemble. I'm using a little skewer to help me position the cookie and add glue to the bottom. I've pushed the fishing line from Mooncake through the bottom and have got a little tail to glue down. Glue on the disc we made earlier. And now we get to see the final product.
Oh! Mooncake! Give!